Hey, boys and girls. Hey, boys and girls, how are you? I'm late, but who cares? I'm in the middle of a project that I'm doing for the family, and I stopped. The only reason I stopped was my drill got too hot to handle because I'm drilling in a concrete, steel reinforced concrete. So it's a little hard. Uh, I'll be going back to it once I get done here. I just wanted to bring a couple of things to your attention. First of all, Bondi, the ex Attorney General? No, yeah. And she is exposing Trump's Epstein stuff that he doesn't want out there. I don't think that was a harmonious split as everybody said it was, you know. She's going to find it hard to find work in the administration after this. Not that I care, you know. Whew, I got dust everywhere. But that's her problem. And of course, we're back in war in Iran, you know. Uh, Trump said there was a deal near, and now he's attacking Iran because they presumably shot down a helicopter that was firing at them. So that was a self-defense move, and they didn't destroy the helicopter. They just shot it, made it crash, and the crew was rescued with no injuries. Just a couple $1 million down the drain. That's all. That's nothing for Trump. He don't care. But I'm telling you that this whole situation is getting out of hand now. We weren't supposed to be in any wars anymore, you know? Do you remember that? No more wars. Long lasting wars. This one's going to go on for a long time no matter what Trump does. He can turn that country into dust and it's still going to be a war over there. And that's not the worst part. He's telling people Cuba's next. And I'm sitting in a country that's probably next after Cuba. This guy's he's just out of his fucking mind. You know, what happened to the deal? Where's the art of the deal, you fat prick? You know, what's going on there? You know, you're being ridiculous. One thing I can tell you for sure is that these people over there have been negotiating 1,000 years longer than we have. Probably more than that. They use the barter system for centuries. They know how to negotiate. They know how to stall. They know how to manipulate. And Trump isn't as good with American people, but he's not good with handling these people. He hasn't got a clue. He needs somebody to tell him what he's supposed to do, and he hasn't got anybody that can tell him their weaknesses, their strengths, because they don't give a shit. And he's never negotiated with somebody that don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Donnie's a moron. Uh, we're led by morons. Uh, it just gets worse and worse day by day. And you want to know what he's been hiding? The fact that Social Security's only got 6 years left before it bottoms out. You know? Not going to affect me. Going to affect my family, though. But not going to affect me. Uh, I just don't understand that. You know, and the question CNN asked at the end of that, towards the end of that article, is, how did this happen? Well, I'll tell you, you dumb shits. First of all, it was untouchable in the Reagan administration. It was the most successful program in the government. The only one that always made money. Never operated at a loss. I don't remember the exact year, but it was the Reagan did this. He was faced with a law that said he had to submit a balanced budget. And the only way he needed to find money. So he looked around, and he saw this. There's Social Security sitting. Billions and billions and billions of dollars in it. It's making money every year. Let's borrow some from there. And he did. The only problem was he never paid it back. The Republicans have never paid it back, or the Democrats or anybody else who borrows from it. They've never paid it back. So now you're reaching a point where the reasons given for the it having problems right now are legit. But this is where that's all started from. Up until that point, Social Security was an untouchable program and the most successful one in government history. Now it's just like everybody else because the politicians got involved with it. But the deal is that there are less people working. Immigrants were a great source of Social Security income, and they never collected on it mostly. It just sat there and was used to help pay make collect interest to help pay everybody else. But now the immigrants are not contributing that much anymore. There's a small percentage still working, and if they are working, they're not letting the government know where they are. You've got Americans out of work. Their jobs are gone, not just out of work. And the future's not that bright, whether they fix this tomorrow morning or not, because you have artificial intelligence. You ever see the CNN ad where they're talking to this one guy and said, I don't remember the names of the people that were involved, and I don't think that I ever heard them, but that's just besides the point. You're seeing two people talking, an interviewer and an interview subject, and they ask him, "You're going to lose $100,000, 100,000 jobs as soon as AI opens, it starts going, increases its usage. 100,000 jobs are gone." Okay, and they're mostly startup jobs and things like that, not the high income jobs, but the jobs that contribute. So there's 100,000 people that are no longer going to be contributing to Social Security. They're going to be taking out of the unemployment for the most part. So, and unemployment is going to rob Social Security because that's what they do. So you have an ongoing problem that's going to get worse. AI is not designed to assist people. All right? Either are robotics. They're not designed to assist people. They're designed to replace thousands of people with a few people. Now, my stepbrother only said one thing smart to me his whole life. Did not like this kid. I don't mention him because I never really liked him. Don't know why. He seemed like a nice guy, but we never got along. He had an attitude problem. So did I at the time, so that made it harder. But anyhow, he told me, he says, I was out of work at the time looking for work, and he said, you know what you should do? You just have to, the next big issue is going to be managing people. And he was right. And this was close to 60 years ago when he told me this. Okay, I was 21 years old when he told me that, and he was right. 60 years ago, people like him thought that people management was where you needed to go. People management didn't pay a lot. It wasn't a glorious position. It was basically you're talking something like human resources or something. They're not talking really managing people. Now you got to manage people. You're going to have a lot of people out of work, and you've got to figure out what you're going to do with them. Now, here's the other side of the coin. You got people manufacturing stuff, and now they're manufacturing it dirt cheap because they don't have to pay union wages or vacation pay or any of this benefits or anything else because they've got these mechanical things doing it for them. Now, the question is, who's going to be able to afford to buy your shit besides another billionaire? And there ain't that many billionaires in the world that could keep this country afloat. So basically what we're saying is that we're headed for some serious economic problems. All right? And Social Security is going to be the first one to go. 6 years, folks. And you think Trump cares? Trump can't even spell Social Security. I don't know whether I could either. But anyhow, he doesn't care about you, doesn't care about me, doesn't care about anything except his wallet. I told you yesterday the crypto criminal is asking for a pardon. He'll probably get it. And Trump will probably put him in charge of his little crypto project. This is just one massive fuck up after another by this guy. Not he's not the worst president in history. He's the worst president beyond history. Yeah, he's the worst. He's the worst leader in the world, and he's really the best, one of the more stable countries in the world. He's putting in a very unstable position, and he wants a civil war. He wants riots in the streets so that he can declare martial law and make himself an emperor. You know. And getting that back to the Iran situation, he's made public statements that after Iran, he's going after Cuba, and then he'll probably come after me in Colombia. I don't know whether I'll be around then, but the man is a. Look at his record. Look at his business record. Look how successful he is or isn't with all the bankruptcies he's got. That's how he made money. He went in and did the mafia thing. Went in, bought a company, maxed out its assets, sold it off piecemeal, bankrupted it, and then closed it and walked away with money in his pockets. And some of the larger contractors walked away with money, but most of them didn't walk away with it, lost money. I know a couple of guys that lost a lot of money working for Trump or the government in general. New Jersey operated the same way in the Garden State Parkway when they built that. Hundreds of guys didn't get paid. Contractors didn't get paid. You know, that's why you see a lot of people running the tolls. They worked back then. State owes them money and it hasn't paid it. Now that supposedly that time is over. It's a different government. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody's ever tried to make reparations to the families that were involved back then. You know, and being honest, most of them were contractors, and they didn't. They weren't exactly crying poverty at the time. So, that's that. Oh man, I'm sorry again. I'm sorry I'm late, but I can't help it. This is a live video. This is not a job. This is a hobby of mine, really, and I enjoy it tremendously. That's why I keep doing it every day. But there's times when it's a drag, and I feel bad, and I shouldn't feel bad because I tell you, this is live. This is not you guys that watch it afterwards that see the videos of it that you went and watch it online. It was live when it happened. It's not edited in any manner, shape, or form. I wish you could. I should. I just cleaned my shirt off before I came on, and my arms they were covered in concrete dust. I still got some over here, and that's probably I wear and I wear this because I need goggles and everything to protect me from the stuff that's flying around. But I do this live as close to 11 o'clock as I possibly can get. But if it was a job, I'd be fired, for not showing because my family and the things that my family, my dog, my friends, whatever, come before this. Okay. As much as I like doing this, and as much as it's a big part of my life, I have other things that I have to take care of. It's just, and I'm sure all of you have the same problem. It's just the way it is. All right. So moving right along, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It makes me feel good, people. It helps me. And now I'm going to have to security going down. I'm going to have to start looking for more money. So now I am going to have to start trying to promote this more and try to make it into something that pays me, which I don't know whether I can or not because I just don't have the time, and I'm not going to neglect everything else just to make money. I've never done that. I mean, theoretically, none of us will be around by the time my wife and myself won't be around when this happens. But you never know, Life has a strange way of fucking with you, people. Remember that. All right, listen up. I'm out of here. Subscribe. Please subscribe. Tell your friends about it. There's enough people viewing this thing that somebody should start subscribing to it. And then you'll get notices when I go on the air. I don't know how that works. I say notifications out, but I don't know whether that you get them or what happens. But in the meantime, people, take care of yourself, stay healthy. It's, and those of you that are getting closer and closer to the retirement age, you need to think about Social Security and what you're going to do instead of. All right. And if you have to work a year or two, I don't know where you're going to work because AI is going to replace you sooner or later, anyhow. So, all right. I know this was truly, truly, truly depressing, right? Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow.